Welcome to this overview of the top 5 religions in the world in 2023. Throughout every era and landscape of history, humankind have pondered the origin of our existence as well as our purpose in this world. Additionally, we've questioned what happens to us after death. In an effort to answer these unfathomable questions with faith-based intuition that a power beyond ourselves is present, and from which all life connects, religions were developed and evolved over time. This spiritual system allows us to make sense out of the mysteries of eternity while also recognizing something truly special exists within each one's individual journey. First and foremost is Christianity, which remains the largest religion in the world with over 2.4 billion adherents. It is based on the teachings of Jesus Christ, who taught humanity about love, justice, and mercy. Christianity is often divided into 3 primary branches: Roman Catholicism, Eastern Orthodoxy, and Protestantism. 2,000 years ago, Christianity was born from the Jewish roots of Judaism's beloved homeland. It began as a Second Temple Judaic sect in Judea during 1st century Hellenistic Judaism and Roman rule. Jesus' apostles preached across Levant, Europe, Anatolia, Mesopotamia, South Caucasus, ancient Carthage, Egypt, and Ethiopia despite intense initial opposition. This led to an influx of Gentile God-fearers who then took on different customs that separated them from traditional Jews. Eventually, after Jerusalem fell in AD 70, which effectively ended the practice based upon temple worshiping, Christianity gradually moved away from its original foundation in Judaism. By the will of the God of Abraham, Gabriel descended to a woman named Mary. He proclaimed that she would give birth to an extraordinary son from God himself, Jesus. Joseph and Mary raised him as their own son, a carpenter, but he was destined for greatness, becoming the living embodiment of his divine creator. With justice and mercy as his goals, Jesus healed the sick, which drew large numbers of people who then gathered around to listen to him teach about God's love. His gentle way of embracing all those in need was a testament to how important it was for everyone, outcasts, sinners, and saints, to come together at one common table. This will be used by Jesus as an example for the kingdom of heaven. In a mere 3 years, his revolutionary message garnered him opposition and resulted in an arrest. Rome chose to execute him through the customary means of dealing with those who opposed them: crucifixion. However, days after his burial, women discovered that he had been resurrected from the dead. Subsequently, many Christians reported their experiences of seeing Jesus alive again, providing assurance that his teachings were indeed valid and true. Love one another, as I have loved you. Every December, Christians commemorate the birth of Jesus at Christmas and his death and resurrection during the Holy Week in spring. A key part of this celebration is baptism, washing away sin and being accepted into the Christian faith, akin to Jesus' own journey from carpenter to doer of God's will. It also includes communion, eating bread blessed as his body, and wine symbolizing his blood that reminds us all about his Last Supper with disciples before facing crucifixion. Through him, Christianity spread far beyond its original roots to become one of today's largest religions worldwide, counting almost a third of the world population among its believers. Islam is the second most populous religion, with over 1.8 billion adherents, and shares many similarities to Christianity in terms of their reference towards one true God. It was founded by Muhammad in 622 AD after receiving revelations from Angel Gabriel that were compiled into the Quran. Muslims widely practice 5 pillars as part of their religious life. These include profession of faith, regular prayer, charitable giving, fasting during Ramadan, and pilgrimage to Mecca, at least once in their lifetime if possible. They are also expected to live according to Islamic law, which includes not eating pork or drinking alcohol, adhering to modesty dress codes for men and women, and refraining from premarital or extramarital relationships. 14 centuries ago, a profoundly virtuous man by the name of Muhammad found himself meditating in an Arabian desert mountain cave. In this special place, he encountered none other than the angel Gabriel, or Jibril in Arabic, who relayed to him words from Allah, the one God of Abraham. Over time, more and more messages were bestowed upon him that he not only memorized, but also taught others. These words held tremendous wisdom, remarkable poetry, and enigmatic metaphors alike. Despite being a traitor, many believed that Muhammad's verses were the very words of God, and thus became the first Muslims, those who surrendered to his will. The term Muslim identifies as someone who willingly submits themselves to divine ordinance. Unveiled over a span of 23 years, the Quran is an Arabic word that literally translates to the recitation. Muslims consider it as the only holy book exempt from human imperfection and also proclaim it to be one of literature's greatest works in its language. With nearly 2 billion devotees worldwide, Islam stands today as the second largest religion on earth. Third on our list is irreligion, or non-religion, the active rejection of religion as a whole, or its organized forms by individuals or groups alike, which has seen significant growth over the last decade and now counts over 1 billion people as practitioners worldwide. This category includes skeptics, agnostics, those who don't find any particular religious belief system appealing, as well as atheists who reject any concept involving an omnipotent being or deity. Interestingly, over time, the disbelief in religion has itself become a religion of sorts. Atheists and agnostics are now organized in societies, generally sharing values such as humanism, free speech, secularism, and tolerance. Many of these members also have deep-rooted fascination with science and its potential to explain the mysteries of life and the universe at large, a different type of faith which is truly interesting. This new religion has prompted a wave of change across the world when it comes to anti-religious issues, such as feminism disguised as gender equality or sexual debauchery. It has encouraged greater acceptance by removing the religious stigma attached to certain topics while allowing people to express themselves without judgment or fear. As such, irreligion is playing an important role in creating a more tolerant society. In summary, irreligion is an important part of the social landscape in 2023, and its presence is only likely to increase in the decades to come. Its potential to change world societies, for better or for worse, should not be underestimated. Even Christianity recognizes this social shift in what it calls the Great Falling Away. Hinduism follows next with approximately 1.2 to 1.35 billion followers around the world, making it both one of the oldest surviving religions and one of the fastest growing ones today. Hinduism centers around Dharma, a universal order that governs how we should live our lives according to moral values such as righteousness, truthfulness, nonviolence, respect for all living things, etc., and identifies multiple gods such as Vishnu and Shiva, whom Hindus worship depending on their personal preference or cultural background. Hinduism is not merely a single religion, but rather an amalgamation of spiritual practices and beliefs that date back to the time of Krishna, considered by some as an avatar or divine incarnation of Vishnu. He believed in karma, the law which states that every action has its consequential effect. Through his teachings, he presented India with the timeless ideology underlying Hinduism, one full of ancient wisdom for modern minds. Hinduism explains that after we pass away, our soul is reborn into a new body depending on how we lived in this life. If one follows their dharma and completes their duties, good karma will be bestowed upon them, which drives the cycle of samsara upward. However, it is still possible for someone to gain enough karma to break free from this wheel, moksha. Therefore, by living an honorable life with every action made being done so with intentionality and mindfulness, one may ascend beyond reincarnation. Hinduism teaches that everything is one. The whole universe is one transcendent reality called Brahman. There is just one Brahman, but many gods within it, and their roles, aspects, and forms differ according to various traditions. Brahman is the creator. Vishnu is the preserver, who sometimes takes on human form, and Shiva is the transformer, or lord of the dance. Durga is the fiercely protective divine mother. Ganesha has an elephant head and is the wise patron of success. Hinduism is a unique system of beliefs characterized by its multifaceted philosophies, mutual concepts, ceremonies and rituals, cosmological systems, and pilgrimage sites, just to name a few. It also includes various sacred texts that include information on theologies, metaphysics, mythos, and Vedic yajna, as well as teachings about yoga practices and agamic rites for building temples. Hinduism emphasizes the four purusarthas: dharma, ethics and duties; artha, prosperity and work; kama, desires and passions; and moksha, liberation from passions and death rebirth cycle. Additionally, central to their belief system is karma, action taken with intent that leads to certain consequences. Everything ties back in a continuous loop known as samsara, or the cycle of rebirth. Hinduism is the third most widely practiced religion globally, with more than 1 billion adherents across every single continent, primarily residing in India. Last but certainly not least is Buddhism, which currently has close to 500 million adherents worldwide, although its spiritual principles were first discovered by Siddhartha Gautama, known simply as Buddha, over 2,500 years ago in India's ancient times. Buddhism focuses heavily on developing wisdom through meditation practices, while also encouraging compassion towards others through moral ethics such as avoiding wrong speech, action, or thought, or cultivating contentment even when faced with difficult circumstances such as illness or death, etc. Altogether, these concepts form what modern Buddhists refer to collectively as the middle path between extremes, which seeks balance within our lives rather than any type of extreme behavior like hedonism or self-mortification, for example. Buddhism began in present-day India more than 2 millennia ago and has since extended far beyond its original location to become the fourth largest religion globally. Currently, there are over 250 million Buddhists, representing 7% of the population around the world. Its reach across Asia was largely made possible by the Silk Road, which allowed for seamless transmission of Buddhist teachings throughout history. According to the teachings of Buddha, the middle way is an enlightened path for spiritual growth that steers clear from both extreme indulgence and self-mortification. Its purpose is to free ourselves from attachment or any sort of clinging towards things that are temporary, anitya, futile, dukkha, or permanent essence, anatman. The Noble Eightfold Path serves as a concise summary of the Buddhist beliefs, encouraging adherents to practice ethics and meditation in order to free themselves from samsara. Other key practices include monasticism, taking refuge in Buddha, dharma, and sangha. Perfection's cultivation is also essential. These core teachings enable Buddhists to end their karmic cycle of death and rebirth. These are some basic facts about each of these major religions today in 2023: Christianity, Islam, irreligion, Hinduism, and Buddhism, hopefully giving you a better understanding into their core beliefs so that you can make an informed decision if you ever decide to explore them further. Thank you for watching.